I have the privilege of reading and answering a lot of emails at the Abbey. And sometime in the last few weeks, someone wrote in that they couldn't quite imagine being free of their disturbing attitudes, or even imagining what it would be like to be as a functioning person in the world and not have negativities arising. And when I first read that, I thought, wow, that's really a hindrance. But then I thought more about this, and then I started looking at how I am. And do I really believe that I can be free of my hindrances? And I've discovered that I'm not quite so sure some days. And in some instances, I think I'm still quite happy when anger arises. That's a terrible thing to say, but I'm feeling justified in that moment. And this other person is completely wrong. I'm totally right. And so, then the story evolves from there in not a too happy way. So when I'm very clear, I really do believe that all of us, myself included, can be free of our disturbing attitudes. And we have some work to do. And this really means that we do a daily purification practice, that we apply the antidotes when these negative states arise, and that most important, I think we have to look back at ourselves over time and really see in certain situations, like 5 years ago, how would I have reacted in this same situation? Hopefully it's different, and I think we can all come up with examples of where we have something come up and we can look back and we see now, yes, there's change happening. Because I think it's quite often very difficult to believe that purification happens, or purification happens for other people. And then another story that came to mind is that if we can't quite believe that purification happens, we can look at other beings who are so caught in their ignorance, they can't possibly apply the antidotes in this lifetime. And so what I'm remembering is we used to have this Shetland pony when I was a kid who was really mean. I mean, this was a mean horse. And my dad bought the horse because he thought, well, it's a short horse, it's good for kids, and this will be perfect. You can finally learn how to ride like I do. And I remember we would get on this horse, and every time we got on this horse would run to a wire fence and try and rub us against the fence. When my dad would put the saddle on, the horse would blow up her belly, so that when we got on, a few steps away, the saddle would loosen because she'd let out her air, and then we'd be upside down underneath the horse, and this is really frightening. And then the one time that clearly stands out in my mind is I was on this horse, it was time to end, and it was very unhappy. I mean, this horse was very, very mean to me the whole ride, always trotting when I'd want her to gallop or walk. And this horse took a look at the barn door, and it was one of these barn doors that have, a top door and a bottom door. And the bottom door was open, and the top door was closed. And I saw the horse look at this barn door, and then the horse charged for the door, and I'm on the horse. And so fortunately, I was small enough that I could sort of get down, and I made it into the barn without my head being knocked off. I don't think I've quite forgiven this horse to this day. I have some work to do there. But my point of the story is this Shetland pony was probably telling all of us that, being ridden was a real drag, and, it wasn't very nice for us to do to her anyway. And probably with a lot of kindness, this horse could have changed somewhat. But I don't think the horse could really change in the way that all of us in a precious human life can change. And so I think we have to really look at other beings with compassion in ourselves when we get the idea that Buddhahood is a long way off. It's impossible. I'm stuck with these hindrances. This is who I am. And this is what I hear people say a lot too. This is who I am. I'm angry. I've always been angry. I'll continue to be angry. So get used to it. That's a very sad state to be in. So fortunately, we have the teachings of the Dharma. We can continue with the purification process, and we can rejoice when we see that there's change taking place over time.